Today we are gathered to celebrate the graduation of Class 19-005. For the past 3 weeks, these NCOs have learned leadership to include counseling, coaching, and mentoring, Army writing, critical thinking, and problem solving to prepare them as leaders for their respective recruiting and retention battalions. At this time, it is with great pleasure to introduce the State Command Sergeant Major for the State of Arizona National Guard, Command Sergeant Major Fidel Zamora. Command Sergeant Major Fidel Zamora, Jr. assumed responsibility as the 11th State Command Sergeant Major for the Arizona Army National Guard on July 8, 2012. He advises the Assistant Adjutant General, Army, on all enlisted related matters, particularly in areas affecting soldier training and quality of life for soldiers and their families. At this time, Command Sergeant Major Zamora.
Thank you, Sergeant Gillespie. Good morning.
Good morning.
Come on, it's graduation. Good morning, how you doing? Good morning, Sergeant. So, I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you graduates on completing senior leader course and on your promotion. Because I know that that's coming. Some of you are excited once you get back to home station. You're gonna very, very soon put on SAR first class if you're not already wearing it. So again, congratulations to you in this huge accomplishment, entering the senior non-commissioned officer ranks. Before I get started, I'd like to thank Colonel Bilko and Command Sergeant Major Billet, the PEC leadership team, for allowing me to come out to PEC and to address the senior leader course. And Sergeant First Class Wheeler, Sergeant Blanton, Sergeant Stevenson, and Sergeant Gillespie, thank you for all the preparations for today, so thank you very much. So I told Sergeant Gillespie that I'm not a big fan of having the whole bio read, right? Because I can do that. I don't need to have somebody read the bio for me. I can just tell you a little bit about myself. If you're that interested in what my bio says, you can go to the Arizona Army National Guard website and check it out. So it's on there. Okay, so I hail from the great state of Arizona. Can you guys hear me okay?
How's that, sir?
Okay, and I gotta put eyeballs on now, as I get older. So I hail from the great state of Arizona. We have about 5,200 soldiers in our formation. My boss is Brigadier General Joe Baldwin. He just got promoted to General in January, so we're pretty excited that he's finally got his start. But we have a number of soldiers that are mobilized right now in the state of Arizona. We got an infantry battalion that's currently in Afghanistan. We have 2 MP detachments that are out there providing PSD support to General Miller and his staff. We have an RSG headquarters. First time Arizona's ever deployed a brigade headquarters overseas, and that's our 198th RSG. And we have a MET team consisting of about 25 soldiers that are part of our Maneuver Enhancement Brigade that are in Jordan. We have another engineer battalion headquarters and a forward support company that are currently at Fort Bliss going through their post-move, so they'll be out the door. And then we have a 996 medical company that's also preparing to leave the state of Arizona here at the end of the month. So as far as mobilization in Arizona's busy, we're only 5,200. We'll have over 1,000 soldiers deployed here in the late spring. We also have Operation Guardian Support going on, right? So we're one of the southwest border states. Most recently, California and New Mexico pulled out off the mission, and Arizona and Texas are still supporting ODIS's southwest border regions. We have about 528 soldiers and airmen that are on the mission right now in Arizona. We just lost Wisconsin. We sent about 150 of their soldiers back. They pulled out of the mission about 2.5 weeks ago. We have about 15 different states that are supporting Arizona. So a big thanks. I know I'm not going to get them all, but we have folks from Arkansas, from this state here, that are supporting the Arizona border mission. We have Nevada, Texas, Mississippi, Hampshire, Nebraska, and West Virginia. So there's a lot of states that are supporting Arizona. So for me and Mike's commander, thank you so much. If you're here representing one of those states, thank you so much for your support. So I'm married, been married for 28 years now to my high school, or actually elementary school sweetheart, right? We've known each other for a long time. Our families have, and I'm still happily married 28 years. I have a 27-year-old son who didn't join the military, and I respect that. I really wanted him to, but unfortunately he had a different path he wanted to go, and he's very successful doing that. So all the best to him. I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old daughter, and they're very involved in sports and dance. So I make an effort to make time for my family because it's hard being a guardsman, whether you're traditional or full-time. And it's very important to never lose sight of those folks are going to be there long after we get out of uniform. So we got to make the effort to make time for our families. Cool? All right. So my bio, right? Spent 10 years active Army, came in on the delayed entry program in 1989. Left active Army in 99, came at 99. My last duty station was with 3rd Infantry Division out of Fort Stewart, Georgia. Joined the Arizona Army Guard, and within a year, just under a year of being a traditional guardsman, I was able to pick up a position as ADOS, and then eventually AGR with the 91st Civil Support Team in Arizona. So I've been very fortunate. 10 years active, going on just over 18 years active with the Arizona Army National Guard. So I'm on the tail end of my career. I got about 18 months, and I'll be moving on to the next chapter of my life. And I'm a little nervous, but excited at the same time because I know I'm ready. I will definitely miss the camaraderie and the family that you develop in the Guard. But I know that they'll always be there. I'll just be coming back, visiting, some more comfortable clothing. So we talked about the Arizona Army National Guard. We also have 2 units that are currently looking at doing a CTC this year, which is huge for Arizona. We normally just have 1 unit maybe doing a CTC. So this year we have 2 major units in Arizona Army Guard that are doing a CTC. One at the National Training Center, that's our 158 CSSB, and at JRTC we have our 2nd to 25th Aviation Battalion. So we're really excited, very busy, a lot of stuff going on in Arizona. So if you haven't had the opportunity to come out to Arizona, it's a great state. The weather's beautiful right now. If you like to golf, fish, or hunt, there's a lot of stuff to do out there. So hopefully you get the opportunity to come out and visit us. So right now, my land component commander, Brigadier General Baldwin's #1 priority in our state is personnel readiness and strength. So this audience knows more than anybody that we're losing a lot more soldiers on the back end than what you're bringing in, right? So it's probably in our best interest to do the best we can to keep the soldiers that we already have in our formations. And so one thing Arizona recently did was we had a Guard Your Future event. I know the state of Michigan has been doing this for probably about a year or 2 already, maybe even longer. But it's a retention event where you bring in soldiers that are within the 180 to 90 day window. You readdress all their benefits again. And Arizona recently came out with a reclass policy, so we're offering those first obligors the opportunity to maybe look at another MOS. Maybe they're not fit to be a 12 November or a 31 Bravo. And they've already committed their commitment to that contract, so we offer other MOSs that they can go into. So it was very successful. We had about 90 soldiers that actually attended, and we had 27 that extended on that Saturday. So we just did it at a local community college offsite and provided lunch, and it's very, very good. So you'd be surprised how many of our soldiers, believe it or not, and I would ask you to go back to your states and even check this, how many of our soldiers do not yet know that they are also entitled to the GO-RVED program and the $4,500 of federal tuition assistance. So I stood up formation at the infantry battalion's rear deck, and about 300 soldiers, and I asked them how many are using GO-RVED. You know, the $4,500 federal tuition assistance. And out of that whole formation, 3 soldiers raised their hand. And that's pretty sad. And I asked, how many of you don't know about the GO-RVED programs? Well, other than the 3 that raised their hand, the rest will raise their hand. So they didn't know. They thought that was strictly for active duty, Army only, or AGRs. So at least in my state, I realized that that's something we have to do, is be able to message that those benefits are available to them. So we had a lot of success at that event. So today I challenge you to be a more inspiring leader, right? The soldier can spend his or her entire military career never finding that one truly inspiring mentor. And I would ask you, as you get ready to enter the senior ranks, if you don't have a mentor, you need to find one. A lot of times they're not going to come up to you and say, hey, I want to be your mentor. You have to go find someone to be your mentor. But in return, as you look down the ranks, be a mentor to someone else. As a matter of fact, be a mentor to men if you have to, right? We could do a better job in the Guard as a whole, I think, in mentorship. So it's upon each and every one of us to make an effort to mentor those younger soldiers that are coming in. Our junior non-commissioned officers now, right? That's who you're going to be mentoring is, you know, the junior non-coms, the 5s and the 6s. How many of you have a mentor? By show of hands. How many of you are mentors? Probably the same hands in the mouth. I highly encourage you to find one, sergeants, if you don't have one. They make your life so much more easier. You can't go through this alone. You can't go through the ranks and go through an entire military career without having people in your life that inspire you to make yourself better and to inspire you to be a better leader for your subordinates. Because there's folks like me that are on the way out that, believe it or not, we've kind of learned a thing or two. And we'd be more than willing to help you in making some good decisions. Inspiring leaders set out to create a positive, cohesive atmosphere where soldiers are motivated and ultimately attacked, a command climate which fosters camaraderie, which is something that I think we have challenges with in the Guard, especially with this younger generation. But if you're engaged with these soldiers and you're communicating with these soldiers, not just on drill weekends, right? And I know I'm talking to a bunch of recruiters here, but I'm telling you this so you can share this information with the folks back in your state. There are some things that I have learned. So as a senior non-commissioned officer, you've made it, okay? You entered the senior non-commissioned officer ranks. Be down to earth. Don't be so uptight, right? Life's too short. Life is too short. Your military careers goes by in the blink of an eye, and there's no reason to be uptight, especially when you enter the senior non-coms rank. You've made it. It's a very small percentage of folks that ever get out of the military that were fortunate enough to wear rank or sergeant first class. A lot to be proud of, and so let up a little bit if you're uptight, right? Loosen that belt, loosen that jacket up a little bit. Take care of soldiers and see to their needs. So I have an acronym that I use for CARE, right? And say it would be compassionate. We don't know what people have experienced growing up or what they're experiencing in life. But be compassionate when you have soldiers that you deal with. Don't judge too quickly. There's a lot of stuff, probably even in this room, that even though you folks have been with each other for 3 weeks, you don't know each other entirely. There's a lot of stuff that was never discussed while you were here, and you'll take that back home. A, be aware of their current situation. Be aware of their life situation at home, right? And at work. These are for like our traditional M-Day soldiers, but even the soldiers you work alongside within your recruiting battalion, right? Know what's going on in their lives. Ask questions. And I'm sure Sergeant Major Billett can even echo this, but like on active duty, I mean, those team leaders weren't us. They knew everything about me. And I didn't voluntarily give the information. They were very aggressive in getting the information, wanting to know who I was, what was going on at home, what was going on with the family. And so that's something that I think is kind of difficult in the Guard, right, with our traditional soldiers. But one thing I told our junior NCOs in Arizona is there should be no reason with the technology that we have that you cannot communicate with your 3 or 4 soldiers out of your team more than once a month. You know, a quick 5-minute phone call to check on them, or even a group text where they're all communicating back to you. With the technology today, it's a lot easier. And be respectful to our subordinates and to each other. You know, the old adage, you got to be respectful to earn that respect. Yeah, that's true. If you're respectful to your soldiers and your peers and your subordinates, you're going to receive respect back. And then E, be engaging and commit and communicate often with the soldiers. So just like I said earlier about, you know, the technology that we have now, there's no reason for us to not be able to communicate. We're kind of like, you know, in the age of being able to over-communicate if we had to. So just try to think outside the box and try to think creatively to be able to continue to communicate with couples. Live and be an example, live in Army values and warrior ethos. So the Army values and warrior ethos I have on my coin because I think as long as I can stick to those 4 warrior ethos and the Army values, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I won't get involved in any type of misconduct, right? If I stop and think of the Army values and the warrior ethos. Misconduct, you will see even as you go higher in rank, it seems like it becomes more, you kind of find yourself in more positions where you can probably fall into some misconduct. So you got to be careful. You got to always be thinking Army values and warrior ethos. And if you do that, I guarantee you will stay out of trouble. So the warrior ethos, right? Let's look at those. We're always placing this first. So one thing that I think our junior, not commissioned officers to communicate more to our soldiers is that every one of us joined the military to be a part of an organization bigger than ourselves. You've heard that time and time again. Some of you have said that yourself when they've asked you why you joined the military. We place mission with little or no regard to our own personal well-being. Every one of us is responsible for our part of completing the overall mission. And that's that ownership and accountability piece that our junior non-com should be teaching our soldiers as they come up the rank. Hey, this is your truck. Put your name on that truck and own that truck. That's yours. You know, that's one thing I've done in Arizona. Any truck driver that we have, anybody who has a Humvee, they have their name on the vehicle so that they can take ownership of that and know that that's theirs and that has to be ready to roll every time when that commander wants to go out the gate. I will never accept defeat. Every one of us will face adversity. Every one of us will be defeated at some point in our career. Do not accept that. That's what that means. I will never accept defeat. Do not accept the mistakes that you come across because you're gonna make mistakes. It's gonna happen. And when you face that mistake, get up, dust yourself off, and move forward. Listen. And try to perfect so that you don't make those mistakes. I will never quit. This is one of the simplest principles yet needs to be taught to our newest soldiers and reinforced throughout their service. We have soldiers that are coming into our formation and you folks are bringing them in, right? You see it. That lack resilience big time. So by the time they get to us, we're already behind the 8 ball we're already behind the curve trying to instill some resiliency. They didn't grow up with that in their childhood. They didn't grow up with that during their early adolescent years, right? And now the Army is trying to instill all this resilience on these folks, and they're just not used to dealing with financial issues, relationship issues, you know, the stresses of work and the Guard, and the stresses of school in the Guard. So it's very important that we do that by kind of instilling that I will never quit mentality in them, right? I will never leave fallen combat. This is key to our resiliency efforts. Don't just think of this in terms of a combat situation, but also in terms of one of us or one of our soldiers needing help with what I had just meant, like relating financial issues, alcohol abuse, right? If we identify it, say something, help that person. There's so many resources in the Guard or in the military overall that we just don't have. I'm a product of using those resources, and I'm telling you, if you're receptive to it, you can get yourself back. But you got to step up and say you need help, or you got to help somebody identify that they need that help. Trust is huge to be able to get through to the soldiers in our formation. You got to build that trust with your non-coms and have them build up your soldiers. But trust is also very important with your peers and with your superiors. You have to be able to show them that you're capable of doing what they're asking you to do. And just a couple of things now that you entered the senior ranks. I would encourage you, if you haven't already, you need to start working in your civilian education circuits. It's very important. That's the direction the Army is going with senior mountains. And a lot of our junior soldiers have bachelor's degrees. Some are working on master's degree. I have an E4 in Arizona who works at the medical detachment who already has the bachelor's and is working on her second bachelor's. So I would encourage you, the days of being a sergeant major with a high school diploma, they're almost done. So I would ask you to get ahead of it. You have the resources to go to school. They pay almost nothing. So do that. That'll really set you up for success in your future boards for master's sergeant major. And show that you're also knocking out your TME like you did these last 3 weeks, but you're also making the effort to get your civilian education done. So again, congratulations to each and every one of you. Safe travels back to your home state, and if you ever come out to Arizona, come up to Phoenix and see me. I'd love to see how things are going. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I'll make those words of encouragement.